Look, I don't think anybody needs me to rehash the Sophie Cunningham story. Obviously, the fever trade for her in the offseason. She has that moment with J.C. Sheldon in that Sun game, protecting Caitlin Clark or enforcing laying down the law, if you will, that leads to just an explosion in popularity because she came off like such a badass, and obviously because, she is a badass, and because people were desperate or yearning for someone to step up for Caitlin Clark in that way. And there is the popularity that comes from the proximity of being around Caitlin Clark and playing for the Indiana Fever.
The words hung in the air, a casual comment that sent a seismic shockwave through the WNBA. "We need to get you to a Fever game," she said. Almost as an aside, but it wasn't just an invitation. It was an accidental leak, a bombshell hinting at Sophie Cunningham's imminent return to the practice court, a moment fans had been desperately waiting for. This wasn't official, yet the implication was undeniable. A new chapter was about to unfold, potentially solidifying her place as a Fever icon and sparking a fresh viral frenzy. The offseason's silence had been shattered by an unexpected
step up for Caitlin Clark in that way. And there is the popularity that comes from the proximity of being around Caitlin Clark and playing for the Indiana Fever, something that Sophie Cunningham has capitalized on. Not to mention, she is a good part of the team, a key part of the team, somebody that can do a lot of things, can shoot the basketball, can handle it a little, can play multiple positions. She gets hurt towards the end of the season, which was another blow, but fit in well with the core four, as I put them, of Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, and Lexi Hull, and just felt like a member of the team.
Instructions: objective, create an in-depth, original, and thought-provoking analysis. Engagement, focus on hooking and engagement. Length, maintain the exact same length as the original provided text. Do not make the rewritten text shorter. Meaning, ensure the core sense of the original script is fully maintained. Specific edit, change all occurrences of Shadur to Shadur within the post. Change all Shadur and Shadur to Shadur every time you face this name. Text to rewrite. This seemingly innocent phrase, uttered during a podcast, instantly ignited speculation across social media. Why would a celebrity guest casually confirm what millions were wondering about a star free agent? It felt less like a wish and more like an insider's slip, signaling an unspoken agreement already in motion. The WNBA rumor mill went into overdrive, dissecting every syllable, connecting dots that pointed directly to Sophie Cunningham rejoining the Indiana Fever. The digital world erupted, a collective gasp followed by a roar of excitement as the piece
and Lexi Hull, and just felt like a member of the team going forward. With that said, she is a free agent, and Sophie has hinted at or at least alluded to the idea of testing the water, saying she's not a dumb blonde. She'll see what's out there for her, and she talked about wanting a bigger contract so she can be more secure and in her living situation and everything that comes along with a contract. And some people took that as a little bit of negotiating, whatever. Now, she has this podcast, this Show Me Something podcast, where she talks about the Fever and Caitlin Clark and all that stuff, quite a bit on there, but they had
Her name became synonymous with fearless protection and unyielding loyalty, a reputation forged in a single, unforgettable moment. She wasn't just a player, she became an instant legend, the badass the league desperately needed. Her presence on the court transformed into a symbol of fierce dedication, captivating audiences far beyond the traditional basketball fan base. This wasn't just about scoring, it was about standing up, a quality that resonated deeply with fans.
Whatever. Now, she has this podcast, this Show Me Something podcast, where she talks about the Fever and Caitlin Clark and all that stuff, quite a bit on there, but they had a guest on this last one, and it wasn't an episode that made a lot of news because it doesn't really jive specifically with, the audience that I'm speaking to, a basketball audience, but Meredith Marks, who I looked up and is listed as a businesswoman and someone from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, was on, and this was the clip. You gotta listen to the end.
I think for anyone who doesn't know, part of the whole reason this trio is happening right now is because
that moment, it was the infamous Sun game incident involving J.C. Sheldon. Cunningham didn't hesitate, stepping up to defend Caitlin Clark with an intensity that left no doubt about her commitment. She wasn't just playing, she was enforcing the law, laying down a boundary that reverberated throughout the league. This wasn't a calculated move, It was pure raw instinct, an unscripted display of protective fire that instantly endeared her to millions. The viral clips of her defiance spread like wildfire, cementing her image as unwavering protector.
As a businesswoman and someone from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City was on, and this was the clip. You gotta listen to the end.
I think for anyone who doesn't know, part of the whole reason this trio is happening right now is because Meredith and I sat next to each other at the US Open, and I was asking her life story. I always ask people like Cubs or White Sox, and you're like not really into like many big team sports, but I love the WNBA.
I'm not really a sports girl in general. Like I'm not, but I went last year to the championship game, and it was the coolest experience I'd ever had in the sport.
Instructions, objective, craft an incisive, inventive, and stimulating examination. Engagement, prioritize capturing attention and fostering interest. Length, preserve the precise duration of the original supplied text. Do not reduce the rewritten text. Meaning, guarantee the essential significance of the original script is completely preserved. Specific edit, modify all instances of shadur, shador, and shedor to shedur within the post. Text to rewrite, the public's reaction was immediate and overwhelming, and the league often criticized for its lack of physical defense. Fans yearned for someone to step up for Caitlin Clark to provide that fierce protection. Sophie became that person, embodying the toughness and courage everyone wanted to see. Her actions resonated with a desperate longing for justice on the court, transforming her into a fan favorite overnight. This wasn't just about a game, it was about a narrative, a desire for an enforcer, and Sophie delivered.
Sports, but I love the WNBA.
I'm not really a sports girl in general. Like I'm not, but I went last year to the championship game, and it was the coolest experience I'd ever had in the sports world. And I mean, I do love sports with horses. That I do actually do a little bit more. I do like horse racing or equestrian, any of that I do love. But in terms of like watching a basketball game with these women who are insanely incredible and rock stars, I am a huge supporter. I can't say I watch every game or anything because, like I said, I don't watch a ton of sports.
Instructions, objective, create an in-depth, original, and thought-provoking analysis. Engagement, focus on hooking and engagement. Length, maintain the exact same length as the original provided text. Do not make the rewritten text shorter. Meaning, ensure the core sense of the original script is fully maintained. Specific edit, change all occurrences of shadur to shedur within the post. Change all shador and shedor to shedur every time you face this name. Text to rewrite, her newfound popularity wasn't just about grit, it was also strategically amplified by her proximity to Caitlin Clark, the league's biggest sensation. Playing for the Indiana Fever side by side with Clark placed Sophie directly in the spotlight. She skillfully capitalized on this Caitlin Clark effect, seeing her own star power surge dramatically. This wasn't merely coincidence, it was a potent combination of her undeniable skill, her memorable on-court persona, and the massive attention surrounding her superstar teammate.
Supporter. I can't say I watch every game or anything because, like I said, I don't watch a ton of sports, but
you have a life. I get it.
I love it. Like, love it. I'm like such a fan. You have no idea.
Oh, well, thank you. We need to get you to a Fever game.
Need to get you to a Fever game. Look, I'm not going to read too much into it. I'm not going to say that indicates for certain that Sophie Cunningham will be back on the Indiana Fever. It's just an offhanded comment. But, you know, I think it reinforces a little bit what we all thought, right? And what we all...
Instructions, objective, create an in-depth, original, and thought-provoking analysis. Engagement, focus on hooking and engagement. Length, maintain the exact same length as the original provided text. Do not make the rewritten text shorter, meaning, ensure the core sense of the original script is fully maintained. Specific edit, change all occurrences of shadur to shedur within the post. Change all shador and shedor to shedur every time you face this name. Text to rewrite, despite her undeniable value and soaring popularity, a shadow loomed over her future free agency. Sophie Cunningham was due to test the open market, creating immense uncertainty for Fever fans. Would she stay with the team that brought her viral fame, or would another franchise snatch her up? This wasn't just about a contract. It was about loyalty, opportunity, and the potential disruption of a fan-favorite dynamic. The offseason became a tense waiting game.
Believe, which is that the intent from both parties is for Sophie Cunningham to be back on the Indiana Fever. That has to be, the goal, the plan. I mean, the Fever posted this around Christmas time and for the holidays, a little Soph on a loaf. That was the lead image there. Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull, the caddies for Caitlin Clark, playing golf. She fits in. She's become a star. She gets along with the star. I think it's in the stars for Sophie Cunningham to remain a Fever girl.
Sophie herself fueled the speculation with bold, unambiguous statements. She wasn't afraid to voice her intentions, publicly stating she was not a dumb blonde and would see what's out there for her. This wasn't a subtle negotiation tactic. It was a direct declaration of her worth and her desire for a more secure financial future. She made it clear she sought a bigger contract, emphasizing the importance of stability in her living situation. Her candor only intensified the suspense, leaving fans wondering about her true destination. Initial reactions to her contract demands were mixed. Some observers dismissed her comments as standard free agent posturing, a strategic move to leverage her market value. Others, however, viewed it with concern, interpreting her words as a genuine indication that she might be looking to depart the Fever. This wasn't just about money, it was about a player asserting her value in a league where contracts are often scrutinized. The narrative around her future became a tense tug-of-war between hope and apprehension for the Fever faithful. Throughout the off-season drama, Sophie kept her connection to the Fever and Caitlin Clark alive through her podcast, Show Me Something. This platform became a critical conduit, allowing her to frequently discuss her team and superstar teammate, maintaining her relevance and fan engagement. It wasn't just a side project, it was a strategic move, keeping her name firmly planted in the minds of Fever supporters and WNBA enthusiasts. Her consistent updates ensured that the conversation around her and her potential return never truly faded. The specific episode that sparked the leaked footage buzz featured an unexpected guest, Meredith Marks. Known more for her business acumen and her role on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Marks wasn't the typical guest for a basketball-focused show. This unusual pairing immediately raised eyebrows, suggesting a departure from the usual sports discussions. It wasn't just an interview, it was a crossover, bringing an entirely new audience into the WNBA conversation, setting the stage for an accidental bombshell that would shake the league. Marks herself admitted she wasn't a traditional sports girl, making her WNBA enthusiasm even more striking. She recounted her coolest experience at the championship game, expressing genuine admiration for the insanely incredible women of the league. This wasn't a forced endorsement, it was a heartfelt appreciation from someone outside the usual sports bubble. Her perspective added a unique layer of authenticity to the discussion, highlighting the WNBA's growing appeal beyond its core audience and making her subsequent comment even more impactful. As the conversation flowed, Marks reiterated her passion, declaring herself a huge supporter. She confessed she couldn't watch every game, acknowledging her busy life, but her sincerity was undeniable. "I love it like love it," she exclaimed, her enthusiasm infection. This wasn't just polite banter, it was genuine fandom, cementing her as a new high-profile advocate for the league. Her heartfelt admiration for the players and the WNBA set the stage, building a warm, positive atmosphere before her crucial comment. Then came the seemingly casual aside, the phrase that blew the lid off the offseason. Amidst the discussion about the WNBA, Meredith Marks looked at Sophie Cunningham, and without missing a beat declared, "We need to get you to a Fever game." The words were out, seemingly an innocent invitation, but the implication was staggering. It wasn't a question, it was a presumptive statement, almost as if her return was already a foregone conclusion, a detail known only to those in the inner circle. The internet collectively held its breath. Why was this comment so explosive? It wasn't just a friendly gesture for a free agent. Such a direct statement from someone potentially privy to insider information felt like an unofficial confirmation, a signal that negotiations were far more advanced than publicly known. It suggested an expectation, a shared understanding that Sophie's future was still very much tied, and this wasn't merely a hint. It felt like a soft leak of her practice camp return. An unintentional reveal of a closely guarded secret, instantly going viral. While the podcast host downplayed the comment, calling it off-handed, he couldn't deny its underlying truth. He conceded it reinforces a little bit what we all thought, solidifying the belief that the intent from both parties is for Sophie Cunningham to be back on the Indiana Fever. This wasn't a wild theory, it was a widely held hope. Now given unexpected weight, the casual remark became a powerful indicator. suggesting that the team and Sophie were aligned on her return, making the leaked footage feel almost official. The Fever themselves had subtly hinted at this reunion too. Around Christmas, they posted a charming holiday image featuring Sophie on a loaf, Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hall. This wasn't just a festive greeting, it was a public display of affection, including Sophie and their core team branding during a critical free agency period. It signaled her continued importance and belonging. A visual leak that she was still very much a part of the Fever family, even without a signed contract. Beyond the viral moments, Sophie is a genuinely valuable player. She seamlessly fit into the core four alongside Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, and Lexi Hall. Her versatility, shooting, handling, playing multiple positions made her a key part of the team's strategy. Even a late-season injury couldn't diminish her impact or her integral role. She wasn't just a personality, she was a substantive contributor, making her potential return not just popular, but strategically crucial for the Fever's future success. She became a star not just because of Clark, but because she undeniably gets along with the star. This chemistry both on and off the court is invaluable. The image of her and Lexi Hall as caddies for Caitlin Clark playing golf solidified her place as an integral, beloved teammate. It wasn't just about talent, it was about team cohesion, mutual respect, and a shared vision. All signs pointed to an undeniable truth. It's in the stars for Sophie Cunningham to remain a Fever girl. So while no leaked footage of practice camp has physically surfaced, the podcast comment from Meredith Marks, coupled with the Fever's own subtle hints and Sophie's undeniable fit, served as a powerful, unofficial confirmation of her imminent return. This offhanded remark went viral precisely because it tapped into the deep desire for Sophie Cunningham to continue her journey with the Indiana Fever, a journey that promises more badass moments and undeniable star power. Her comeback isn't just anticipated, it's practically confirmed, setting the stage for a dramatic fan-fueled re-entry into the WNBA spotlight.